Hello, dear World of Warcraft friends. It took about half a year and the WeakAuras in World of Warcraft are back. Someone has now taken the trouble to create a dungeon pack for the second season of World of Warcraft Midnight, which works similarly to WeakAuras the way we knew it before World of Warcraft Midnight. I show you in this video how you can install the whole thing and what it looks like. We'll go through the whole thing step by step. Of course, it's also important to mention that these WeakAuras aren't as powerful as they used to be. So, Blizzard has introduced limitations. What can WeakAuras do and what can't they do? This add-on also has to follow those rules, but if you want to get these packs back, similar to how it was before, you can do that. Let's get started. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want. And yeah, this is what it all looks like. It's also important to note that WeakAuras officially ended support. Instead, someone did this solo and now it goes by the name WeakAuras. But as you can see, it's exactly the same window. This already worked in the previous patch, but now it's gotten a bit bigger. And this is what it all looks like. You have packs with abilities and displays for each individual dungeon, just like WeakAuras used to do in the past. And what's especially cool here is you still have audio notifications. That's something I've personally really missed. You can have things announced to you and you can also set that up however you like. Let's get to the point first. How does the whole thing work? There are several things you need to pay attention to here. I'll put this link in the video description for you. This is WeakAuras. What I just mentioned. And here you can see different individual categories where you can download everything on GitHub. Yeah, in the end, just download the zip files for the whole thing, just like you usually do. After that, you need to extract all the stuff. And then you look for your interface folder. So you go to the directory where WoW is installed, retail, interface, and there you put everything into this add-ons folder. Then I don't have it installed right now, because otherwise it would be overkill with all the other things I've done. I might do it at some point if everything works well, that I'll remove the other add-ons and use this one instead. But just as a heads up, you have to download it here. It's not available on CurseForge. There's also a WeakAuras version, but it's not compatible with the game, so you have to use this whole thing. Once you've installed everything, you need to visit this site, wago.io. You might know it, people used to use it for WeakAuras. Here you then click on this copy import string and then go into the game, type in /WA. And then in this window, up here on the top right, you have a little button where you can click import. There you paste your code with Ctrl+V, the one you just copied. Click on load, and then all these dungeon WeakAuras, like we have in here, will be loaded. Yeah, so far so good. What you also need to have is bigwigs or deadly boss mods. So all of this is needed to make sure the timers of these auras work correctly. And you need two more add-ons. First, shared media, Cosisi. And then this Yukiro shared media here. What these things actually do is pretty simple. It adds custom sounds, voice alerts, and fonts for WeakAuras, DBM, bigwigs, and other things. That means you can choose exactly what sound notification you want for ability XY, because otherwise they're not in the game. If you decide, like I did, okay, I don't want the WeakAuras add-on, Bigwigs and or DBM are enough for me, you can still benefit from these add-ons. And if you look here, Bigwigs, if you go into the configuration there, you also have the option to select dungeon bosses here. Let's say Altar of the Fang here, then we have the ability triple shot, then you click on these 3 arrows or 2 arrows, and then you have the sound category here. And here you can pick one. You can see it here. Thanks to these 2 add-ons, there are an incredible number of additional sounds available that you can set up for yourself. So for example, if you say, this is a good example. Here, for example, Ruby Life Pools. Alert when a normal enemy casts a spell. Here you can now say either you highlight it again like this, or an alarm gets triggered.
And 3, 4, 5.
It's not very loud right now, but you see, these are all the things you can put in there. Because we have this kind of wooden sound here.
Clear, dense.
So there are really a lot of alarms you can set up for yourself. And the whole thing is actually very, very useful. Especially since Bigwigs usually always uses this alarm or ping sound for everything, things can easily get overlooked. And if you have abilities here that give you particular trouble, it's pretty cool that you can use all these things then. For example, all these Yukiro things are included here as well. For example, I find something like this very, very useful. Instead of the normal ping sound, you can have it announce frontal for ability XY. And then you know, okay, that's a frontal, I better move out of the way now. It sounds very, very simple, but in practice, I think activating an extra sense like hearing is really, really nice. And like I said, here you can either say, like I do, Bigwigs is enough for me, and maybe I use some sounds, or you can download this WeakAuras add-on. And as you can see here, that's still a screenshot from season 1, but it's the same thing. There are auras and packs for different bosses and so on, whenever that's actually possible. So it's actually a pretty cool thing. But we also see that it keeps going, that the community is trying to bring WeakAuras back into the game in some form. So let's wait and see how things develop and whether they might eventually find ways to make it even more powerful again. Let's see. And with that, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Have a great time and take care.